All right, everyone, today we have something really special, really unique. You see it on the screen behind me. This is the Louis Vuitton Android Wear smartwatch. For this show, Gadgets with Gurman, you might sometimes expect maybe an Apple Watch or a watch from LG or one of the other players, HTC. But today, we want to take a look at this new Louis Vuitton smartwatch. It's just hitting the market. It ranges between $2,450 and $2,900 in price, so it's really premium, it's really unique. Haven't seen many smartwatches up on that price tier. So let's dive in and take a look at it. But first, my takeaway, as you can see behind me on the screen, this thing looks fantastic. It's a Louis Vuitton watch. It has the leather band. It comes in the Louis Vuitton box with all sorts of gizmos with it, a charger. We'll get into that later in the show, but this thing is super premium. You can see the clasp on the back. It feels really nice. I usually wear a mechanical watch of my own, and this feels just like a mechanical watch. It doesn't feel like a smartwatch. It feels basically like a regular mechanical watch, but it's sort of digital, so you can swipe through different watch faces and change the look up whenever you want to. And just like the Apple Watch and some other Android Wear smartwatches, the bands are interchangeable. But one drawback, I can't seem to find Louis Vuitton selling any replacement bands on their websites. Maybe they do in stores, but it normally fits some of the other Android Wear smartwatch bands you could find on the market, so it should be pretty easy to swap out, and we'll talk more about that later in the show. It looks great, it's gorgeous, it's really nice. Mechanical watch wearers, high-end smartwatch wearers might really like this thing, but right off the bat, I have to talk about some of the drawbacks. One, the battery life they're promising on this thing, 22 hours. For me, it really has not lived up to the 22-hour expectation. Maybe if you're only checking the time a couple of times a day, you're not doing any work on here, getting text messages, emails, downloading maps and apps and whatnot, you're not going to get that 22 hours. You might get something closer to more of a full day. So in essence, you're going to have to charge this thing every night. You're going to want to charge this thing every night if you want to wear it. Another thing, the charger, let me show that to you right now. So this is the charger right here, and you can see it on the screen, and it's this puck right here. It looks similar to the Apple Watch charger. It's not as nice design, but it has this leather strap. And these things you see here on the screen, these are actually little cases for the charger. It's actually pretty interesting. You just cut the charger through this, and you can put it in there if you want to sort of Louis Vuitton-ize and glamorize your charger. I don't know why you would want to do that, but they come in the box. But what you do need to note is that I've been having some issues actually charging the thing. With the Apple Watch, you put it on the puck, it's very magnetic, it latches on instantly, it's great, it's really seamless. But with this, it sort of is difficult to figure out when do you place it on the watch, all sorts of stuff. And I want to zoom in on the watch a bit and jump into this thing so we can take a closer look. So let me just move this. Okay, so this is the watch. Now, one of the most important parts of a smartwatch, obviously, is the screen itself. Now, just like the Apple Watch, if you're holding the watch like this and you flick your wrist up, it will turn the screen on. Now, when you're in that other mode, that's sort of a low power mode where you can take a look at the time. It moves very slowly. You see that right now. To conserve battery life, it sort of pushes in there. But the screen, otherwise, it goes very bright and totally interchangeable in terms of the watch faces, and we'll go through that in a second. But one thing I want to note is that this smartwatch screen is circular. There's been a debate in the technology community and the smartwatch community if screens on smartwatches should be square, sort of like a phone screen, like squared, not rounded, or circular, like a regular mechanical watch. This Moto 360 watch that came out a couple of years ago, I thought it looked great, but it had a problem, and a lot of people dubbed it the flat tire problem. Sort of like if you hit something in the road, your tires goes flat on the bottom, it's sort of smooth. That means that the watch had a little mark in there, like a little, little space there. It wasn't screen. It was just a little area that didn't really do anything. Here, this is a fully circular display. Every pixel in this circle lines up. It's an AMOLED screen like the Apple Watch. This one has 390 by 390 pixels. It looks really great. It's super sharp. It's super colorful, super bright. It looks great and totally customizable. So big props to Louis Vuitton and the hardware makers that it was working with on this thing to get the screen looking great, no flat tire problem. AMOLED looks really nice. And you can see it's sort of a mix between the digital and the numbers around. So around it is a 24-hour clock. in it is the the normal 12-hour clock. So this is the watch face I'm using right now. We're going to do a demo here, and you can see that it has the numbers, looks mechanical, but if you swipe on one side, you can go through your different watch faces, and I want to demo a couple of my favorites. So I really like this one. It's called the My 24 Hours watch face, and what you can do on there is you sort of have a world clock, and you can position it to see the time in different areas. And there's some high-end watches on the market that do the same thing, but now you have it digitally. It's a little bit easier, and then complications are on this thing as well. So you can press the watch, it can locate where you are, it can tell you where you are, and this gets to another watch face that's really interesting that can sort of track your flights for you. Another watch face this is the classic watch face, is really nice. It has the Louis Vuitton monogram on the back. I'm based in LA, so I have the LAX right there. I can jump into that to get my flight information. And I want to actually just show you another watch face that's really customizable. This is the one I had originally. It's called My Stripes. So you can swipe on one side, and you can click the settings gear to sort of personalize it. So you jump into personalize, and you can go through different styles. So there are some defaults here. There's a white one, there's a brown one, and there's a black one. And then if you click the pencil icon, you can sort of go through different styles. So first is the monogram. If you want a black monogram, the classic brown Louis Vuitton monogram, different colors, graphite, a different pattern here. So you can choose a pattern, right? And then it takes you to the next part. You can choose the stripe. So this is one style right here, another style there. You can have it with the monogram, without the monogram. I have my initials MG there. And then you can actually pick some of the colors from the stripe. So if you want to make it orange, you want to make it blue, you want to make it purple, green, pink, whatever you want. This is sort of a brownish green color here. Go next. You can pick more colors. You can pick the color of the inside of the stripes. Looks great. And then you can save the watch face to your liking. And then you can do some more customization on it if you hop back in here. And you can customize your initials if you want to change. Maybe you want to add a different name. You can change the time zone on there for the complication, which is the extra widget from the time in another place. This tour or this watch face is set to Paris right now. And then you can choose to have an illusion or not. So the illusion is basically when you turn the watch, it looks like that the pattern is moving. You could turn that on or off. I personally like it off. It's a little bit cleaner to me. Now, another thing interesting to note is the hardware-software integration here. While the digital watch face has the normal 12-hour clock, you can see that little pin there above the 12 for the 24-hour clock. So you have the best of both worlds there. Some of the watch faces have it, other watch faces don't have it. And we have some questions coming in here, and let's zoom out to answer these questions. One question coming in here, who is the target audience? Well, the target audience for this thing is someone who wants a really high-end smartwatch, or someone who's in the market for a multi-$1,000 on the low end, between $2,000 and $3,000 mechanical watch that wants to add a little technology flair to it. I really think this is one of the first smartwatches I've seen that does a super good job referencing both the mechanical watch world, even better than the Apple Watch, and the digital watch world, because you can see there's deep combination here of actual physical properties of a mechanical watch, the 24-hour clock with the digital. The watch faces look super like you would get on a normal Louis Vuitton mechanical watch. I really think it's a mechanical watch, but digitized. Obviously, the components, there's a CPU in here. It's not the classic Swiss watch mechanics in there, but it feels like it. It's really premium. The casing is Swiss made. Obviously, it's a normal Louis Vuitton leather band. So anyone who wants to play in that few $1,000 mechanical watch field that wants to add a little technology flair to it. Another question coming in here, what's the battery life experience and how does it compare to the Apple Watch? Well, the battery life, and let's zoom back in here on the watch so we can take a look at how this works. So this is Android Wear, obviously. And when you swipe down, you get a few options here. It tells you the date. You can put it on airplane mode, do not disturb, adjust the brightness, alarm settings. It gets really bright, by the way. And one of the things here is it tells you your battery life. Now, I started the day at around 80%, 75, 80%, and it's already jumped down to about 54, 55% when we started. I haven't done much on here, some notifications, some text messages, but not a whole lot, and the battery life has dropped down a bunch. But if you're busy during the workday, there's probably not a lot of times where you're going to want to do notifications and stuff, app downloading and maps and such on your watch. But for the light uses, a couple uses a day, along with getting the time, I think you'll be able to last a day. But the key thing, like some of the other smartwatches on the market, certainly the Apple Watch, you're going to have to charge this thing every single night. Another question coming in here, what is the app support like, and is it Android? Yes, it's Android, and I want to jump a little bit more into the user interface to explain that. So you can see the watch faces, obviously Louis Vuitton design, they look great, but Louis Vuitton sort of stopped there with the watch faces in terms of the user interface construction. So we click the button here to jump into the app list. This is an Android Wear design in terms of the list here. Not much customization. There is the Louis Vuitton logo in the background you can see, but this is Android Wear at the core. And there's the Android Wear apps, contacts, Google Fit. And we have another question coming in here. Can it calculate your health information? I'll answer that in a second, but you can see the different apps. There's a flashlight app on here, oddly. You click it, it lights up the screen. I don't really see the point in that. It doesn't go big enough or bright enough to really replace a real flashlight. So I wouldn't use a watch in emergency situations for a flashlight. There are a few apps customized by Louis Vuitton on here. There's the alarm clock, there's the chronometer, which is basically a timer and countdown. But everything else, maps, the Play Store, reminders, Translate, Uber, those are your core Android Wear apps. Now, another person was asking about the App Store. Now, this is something really interesting. This is an Android Wear feature, but this is something unique to some smartwatches. The Apple Watch cannot do this. On the Apple Watch, you need to download an app on your phone, and then it sort of streams it or installs it from the phone over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to the watch. But this is completely operable on its own in the sense that you have the Play Store on here. So let's jump into the Play Store because there's some people who want to see what types of apps are available here. Now it takes a second to load depending on your Wi-Fi connection and your cellular connection. Okay, I'm not connected to Wi-Fi right now, but maybe it'll connect. And that's an issue I have been having, to be honest, with this watch, is that I've been seeing some Wi-Fi drops, and you saw it in action right there. I saw some connection drops from the phone connected to an iPhone. Perhaps we wouldn't have the same problems if it was connected to an Android phone. But for those who have an iPhone and you want to connect this Louis Vuitton watch to it, you will see some connection problems. Hopefully Louis Vuitton fixes that in the near future with a software update. Android Wear gets them all the time, so we'll see how that works out, and we'll keep you posted on that. But in my tour of the Play Store, I did download a couple apps, including Uber and a weather app to be able to call through the Uber app on your phone. The ride will come. It works pretty seamlessly. It's very similar to the Uber app on the Apple Watch. Now back to fitness. We have a lot of people asking, what is the fitness support like? Well, it does not have a heart rate sensor. On the Apple Watch, there is a heart rate monitor which helps with your burning calories and tracking your steps. This thing could track your steps using the motion sensor, but it's not able to actually tell you a really accurate read on your calorie count because there's no heart rate. So if you're someone who wants a watch with a heart rate sensor on it, this is not for you. But we have the Google Fit app, which is actually really interesting. And here's the setup process that I left unset up so you can take a look at how this works if you were to get the watch. But it can track bike rides, distance, speed, all sorts of stuff like that. And like the first generation Apple Watch, you have to have your phone with you because this does not have GPS built into it. Now, I want to show you some of the workouts you can do on here. You can select walking, running, biking, treadmill running, stationary biking, the elliptical, strength training, push-ups, sit-up challenge, squats, and then a catch-all right there. But again, I don't think you're going to have the best development and health improvements with this watch because it doesn't have a heart rate sensor. You really need the heart rate sensor to understand how many calories you're burning, which obviously is how you gauge how strong your workout is. But for walking and running, you might be able to get a good step counting mechanism here from the motion sensor, like a standard pedometer, without the calorie count, without the heart rate and all that. And because your phone has the GPS, it uses the GPS sensor on your phone. So it could give you good distance tracking to put on a map later, but you're not going to get that hardcore fitness information that you might get on an Apple Watch Series 2 with both the 4-sensor heart rate monitor as well as the health app on there, the activity app on there. But basic is basic, but that's not why you want this smartwatch in the end. It's because you want a mechanical looking watch that has great watch faces and the ability to go in and out between different designs. Another question coming in here, can it control some smart home accessories? Well, if you have apps from the Play Store that allow you to control the smart home accessories, maybe you have a thermostat that works with an Android Wear app, yes, for sure, that'll be able to load on here. This thing can run any of the Android Wear apps pretty much that are available on the Play Store. Another question coming in here, are there more colors and styles? Yes, so as you can see, the bands are interchangeable like I mentioned. You can just pull them off. You can get other Android Wear bands and put it on there. Right now, Louis Vuitton doesn't seem to be selling different bands, but maybe in the future they will sell separate bands. Another question coming in here, about first, actually, let me show you the clasp on the bottom. Now you can see this is the clasp. It comes off like a standard leather watch. You just pull that off and pull it off. I'm not going to take it off right now because I want to show you more of it, obviously, but more colors and styles. So you have one that has a black, shiny stainless steel aluminum on it. That one goes up to about $3,000, $2,950. It's more expensive. But really what you're changing the most here is the look based on the watch faces. Completely customizable. So it's a really great experience. I really like the way of how customizable these watch faces are. It's a bit more customizable than those on the Apple Watch, but of course it's different. These are all very mechanical looking. There is actually one pure digital face I wanted to show you for those coming from an Apple Watch. So we have this one, it's called My Digital, and it does a good job showing you a lot of things at once, sort of like the digital faces on the Apple Watch. It can show you the time right in the middle, obviously. You could put the monogram on there. It shows you the month, so it's July, the day of the week, Wednesday, the date, and then another time zone in the top left corner. Something interesting, it uses names of airports, the major airports in the other cities. So LAX is LA, and then you have PAR for the Paris airport, and JFK for New York. Another question coming in here, does it have video or photo capabilities? I didn't see any photo or video apps pre-installed on the thing from the get-go. But I'm sure there's some apps where you can view photos and whatnot. This is not something you're going to want to watch video on, so I don't think that really matters. There's no camera on here for those wondering. Another question coming in here, are there male, female versions, or is it unisex? From what I've seen, it's unisex, one size, 42 millimeters, which is the same size as the larger Apple Watch, but obviously the bands are interchangeable. The watch faces can be set to any color you might like. So this thing is really geared toward everyone. It's very customizable and gives one screen size. You know what you're getting no matter who you are, and it's a great experience out of the box. And that gets me to the box. Let's zoom back out here and take a look about what this watch, the Tambour Horizon Louis Vuitton smartwatch, comes with. So classic orange box, and some of the stuff it comes with here is this blue case right here, and you could pop it open. The watch comes in this, like a standard small watch box. Comes with the charger, like I showed, the charging puck. Again, somewhat hard to gauge which sides you put it on. On the Apple Watch, it's extraordinarily clear. You have the white plastic side to connect to the watch, then you have the metal stainless steel side, which you want to put on a table or whatnot. This is actually very flimsy, feels sort of cheap, other than the leather notch right here to hold it together, and these little cards where you can hold together the case. But overall, that's pretty much what it comes with. It comes with the charging puck, instruction manuals. It is nice packaging, obviously, is what you would expect from a premium watch. It's all in there for you, nicely put together. Of course, you have the Android Wear ecosystem behind it, so any of the bands and straps that you want to connect to the watch, you have from there. Otherwise, it's a Louis Vuitton watch. And some more information about the watch I want to get out here is that it comes with a couple Louis Vuitton apps. I showed the chronometer and the alarm clock. Those are all Louis Vuitton designed. But let's dive back in here and zoom back on the watch so I can show you some more. There's an app called the Louis Vuitton City app, which is sort of a concierge-like app. And let's dive into it. And also, so you can see some of these apps can go a lot further and have the Louis Vuitton design on it, like the fitness app I showed and such. But there is the City Guide app. Now, the City Guide app right now is only in a few cities. And when I look into the City app, you can see that it shows which cities it's supported in, Paris and all that. It doesn't really work in San Francisco right now, which is where we are right now. But I can tell you a little bit what this app does. So it shows you basically restaurants and different places you can go to and such. And this is unique to the Louis Vuitton watch and integrates with the iPhone app as well. And we have some people asking, what does it look like on the underside of the watch? So I'll take it off and we can take a look together. So you can see here, this is the underside of the watch, and it has the stainless steel back. It's pretty shiny. It has the ceramic right here and the Louis Vuitton logo, has some of the specs of the watch, who makes it, the serial numbers and whatnot. And while we're here, I'll actually show you how you can take the band off, right? So sort of like other Android Wear watches, you can just take off with the links here. You press this button, it comes off really easily. And then you can put it back on pretty easily as well. It snaps into place. It is pretty secure. I don't think these things are going to come off. Let me put this other one back on here as well. Yeah, and you can see, you know, the most notable omission here is no heart rate sensor. There's no sensors on here at all in terms of tracking health. Another question coming in here, does it have GPS? No, but like the original Apple Watch, it could use the GPS in your phone. So if you're going on runs with this watch, which, by the way, I don't know why you would want to go on a run with this type of watch, given how premium it is and the leather band, and they don't have any with plastic bands right now, but maybe you can get a Google third-party Android Wear band, but I wouldn't really run with this thing anyways because it's so high-end. You might want to get a Fitbit or a cheaper Apple Watch if you have this to go along with it for your exercise. Question, is this like the Apple Watch 2 where you can use it without the phone? Well, on the Apple Watch 2, you can't really use it without the phone because it doesn't have a cellular radio. And this, I mean, as you can see, it doesn't have a cellular radio either, and it doesn't have a GPS like the Apple Watch Series 2. A couple other, you know, important specs is that it goes to water resistance to 30 meters. It's not waterproof like the Apple Watch, but it really is a high-end watch. And what does it compare to? Well, I've seen a lot of comparisons, and let's zoom back out here, a lot of comparisons to the Apple Watch Hermes, which ranges between $1,150 and $1,500, right? That's not as expensive as this one. You know, it's to be seen. Do you want a Hermes watch? Do you want a Louis Vuitton watch? Do you have an iPhone? Do you have an Android phone? If you have an Android phone and you want a super premium, multi-$1,000, leather-strapped smartwatch that looks really great, the Louis Vuitton smartwatch, the Tambour Horizon, is an interesting look. If you have an iPhone, it's compatible with that as well because Android Wear is now cross-compatible. Obviously, you have some additional functionality if you're connected to an Android phone, a Samsung phone, phones like that, but if you have an iPhone, it works with that too. The Apple Watch obviously is compatible only with the iPhone, not with Android. So you really have to pick which ecosystem are you in, which fashion brands you want to be a part of, how much money do you want to spend. So thank you so much for tuning in. This was the Louis Vuitton Tambour Horizon smartwatch. If you have any more questions about this, you can email me, you can tweet at me, and we'll respond. And also, please, catch us next week for our next gadget. Thank you so much.